Good afternoon. Welcome back to social science class. So previous class we learnt about how East India Company got permission or granted permission from the Queen Elizabeth to trade with the Eastern countries, and also the same time we learnt about the other Europeans, how they were entered to trade with the India. Now let us talk about East India Company began trade in Bengal, how the process. See, the first English factory, it was set up on the banks of the river Hooghly in 1651 in Kolkata. So, the first English company, that means actually these trade centers they used to call as a factory. So, the first it was set up in the bank of river Hooghly in 1651. Okay. See, this was actually the base from which the company's traders known at the time as factors. Known at the time as factors. See here, they are operated. So that means from these factories, the officials or the traders, they are operated their trade. Understood now. See, the factory had a warehouse where goods for exports were stored. So the factory, each factory, so they were having their own warehouse or what we call as a Ugranagadu or storehouse, and from there they were export. So for export purpose, so whatever they were brought the goods from the local people, so they were stored and those were called as a storehouse or warehouses. Okay, see, and it had offices also where company officials sat. So it is all about the factory. Understood? So this is actually factory in the sense what we are using in the modern meaning industries not like that. So this is actually the place, okay, so where the companies the traders or the factors they are operating, and where they are keeping the warehouse and they were exporting, and even so from there only the goods for exports were stored, and it had offices where company officials sat, and those are used to called as a factories. Okay, see, as the trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the factory. So day by day, the trade it was expanded. Then afterwards, the company persuade the merchants and traders to come and settle near the factory. So by 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement. The English, the East India Company. So they were start to begin. For what purpose they were start to construct the fort to protect from others. So when they were started now, so in 1696, so they were began to construct a fort around their factory or the settlement, isn't it? See, 2 years later, it bribed Mughal officials into giving the company zamindari rights over three villages. Now, after that, the East India Company, so it was involved with the bribed Mughal officials, and they were got the zamindari rights over three villages to trade with those villages with the free. Understood now? So, here the thing is that the first time the Mughal officials, the bribed Mughal officials, ಭ್ರಷ್ಟ ಮುಘಲ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಸೊ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಜಮೀನ್ದಾರಿ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮೂರು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳ ಜಮೀನ್ದಾರಿ ರೈಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದೀಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಕಲಿಕಾತ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಲಿಕಾತ ಅಥವಾ ಕಲಿಕತ. So out of that, so the three villages Jamindari rights were given by the Mughal officials, bribed Mughal officials. So one of that village name is Kalikata. Understood now? So this Kalikata is there now. It's a really it is sir. What is this name of the village Kalikata? Of course, dear students, which one of the what we call the big city, it is developed as a anyhow. So anybody can you guess Kalikata? Actually, it is the name of which is grew afterwards Calcutta. Understood now? So it is that originally it is Calcutta. So later onwards, again this Calcutta it was renamed as Kolkata. Are you getting now, dear students? The the first East India, I mean English factory, it was set up on the banks of Hooghly in 1651. Okay, then afterwards, so in 1696 they were building a fort around their settlements. Then after 2 years, so the bribed Mughal officials, so they were granted the Jamindari rights over the three villages. So out of the three villages, so one village is called as Kalikata. So which name it is afterwards, so grew as a Calcutta. Now it's used to called as a Kolkata. Okay. See, here it also persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a farman granting the company the right to trade duty free. Okay. Duty free means without any taxes, without any dues, without any customs, so free. Farman means it is actually a royal edict or a royal order. So, even the East India Company, I mean the English company, so persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a farman. So, for what? Granting the company the right to trade duty free without ಯಾವುದೇ ಅಡೆತಡೆಗಳಿರ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆ ಒಂದು ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನ ಸೊ ಔರಂಗಜೇಬನಿಂದ ಸಹ ಅವ್ರು ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. And then the company tried continuously to press for more concessions and manipulate existing privileges. Now, slowly what happened? The English company, I mean the East India Company, so tried continuously to press more concessions, to get more concessions and even manipulate existing privileges. Aurangzeb's Farman, for instance, had granted only the company the right to trade duty free. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಕಂಪನಿಗಷ್ಟೇ ಅವರು ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರವನ್ನ ನಡೆಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ who were carrying on private trade on the side were expected to pay duty. Of course, Aurangzeb was granted a farman. So according to that, the East India Company can trade duty free, but the company officials are there, no? So these company officials, those who were carrying on private trade, so on the side, so they were expected to pay duty. The Aurangzeb, he was granted farman only for the company, not for officials. So even what happened? So the officials, they were expected to pay duty. So this they refused to pay. The company officials, so for their private trade, so they were refused to pay, then causing an enormous loss of revenue for Bengal. Now what happened? As a result, so the revenue of Bengal, it was reduced and it was in loss of a great loss of revenue for Bengal. Now, how could the Nawab of Bengal during the time? So the Bengal of Nawab, it was Murshid Quli Khan. How you can protest? Whether it was not protest, so this is what we are going to learn, a very interesting, which was a turning point on our Indian history. Then what happened? How the Nawab of Bengal, so he was reacted for this development, that we are going to discuss. See, actually this trade led to battles afterwards. So through the early 18th century, the conflict between the company and the Nawabs of Bengal, it is actually it was what we call intensified. It's continued. It was in a very dangerous situation. So the conflicts between East India Company, I mean the English company, and the Nawab of Bengal. So after the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawabs, they were asserted their independence and they become the independent one in the Bengal. Like there's so many. So actually Aurangzeb, he was ordered a farman, for what we called farman. So according to that farman, so the company can trade duty free, but the same time the private officials, so they were not allowed to trade, they must pay their duties. But afterwards what happened, when the East India Company pressure to get more concession and so on, so the provisions from the Bengal, I mean the Nawab of Bengal, so it was a huge loss for the Bengal Nawab. Then after that, what happened? So when the Aurangzeb he was died, after the death of the Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawabs they were asserted power and autonomy. See, as other regional powers were doing at the time, Murshid Quli Khan afterwards, so he was followed by Alivardi Khan and then Sirajud Dawla. See, then when the Sirajud Dawla he was became a Nawab of Bengal. So each actually here all these rulers, even Murshid Ali Khan, Alivardi Khan, and Sirajud Dawla. So all these three kings, so they were all powerful rulers. They were all strong rulers. So they refused to grant the company to continue the concessions and whatever they were requested or demanded. Then instead of that, so they were demanded a large tributes for the company's right to trade. If the company wants to trade or to continue to trade, so the company must tribute something to the king, especially to get the permission, to get the right to trade. So that's what happened. The conflicts between king of Nawabs and then the company, so it was become a wide. See here, denied it any rights to mint coins. Even the company itself completely denied any right to mint coin also. They were not permitted. So and stopped it from extending its fortification also. So not only that, so they were stopped to mint coin also and stopped it from extending its fortifications also. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಕೋಟೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಸೆಟ್ಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳು ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ, ಸೊ ಅವುಗಳನ್ನು ಸಹ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. And accusing the company of deceit, they claimed that the company was depriving the Bengal government of huge amounts of revenue and undermining the authority of the Nawab. So because of this, so what happened now? So completely, so the the treasury of Bengal it was deprived. ಬಹಳ ಸಂಕಷ್ಟಕರ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ತಲುಪುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಪೂರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಈವನ್ ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ the company is the even the king of Nawab, I mean sorry, the Nawab of Bengal, so he was also undermined. See, it was refusing to pay taxes and writing disrespectful letters also and trying to humiliate the Nawabs and his officials also. So instead of that, what happened when the Nawab of Bengal he was forced and they were stopped all these things when they were avoided. So the East India Company it was refused to pay the different taxes and also they were written the disrespectful letters also and they were trying to humiliate the Nawab and his officials also. See, after that what happened? The company on its part declared that the unjust demands of the local officials were running the trade of the company and trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. So it was also convinced that to expand trade it had to enlarge its settlements. So buy up villages and rebuild its forts. So now what happened? So the conflicts between the company and then the king of Nawab, so it was continued. So the conflicts led to confrontations and finally culminated in the famous Battle of Plassey, which is a turning point in our Indian history. The Battle of Plassey is there now, so it was one of the turning point in our Indian history. So now let us discuss about the Battle of Plassey. See, when the company on its part declared that the unjust demands of the local officials were running the trade of the company and the trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. They were declared like that only, the East India Company, and even they were neglected completely the local officials also. And it was convinced that to expand trade, it had to enlarge its settlements and even so buy up villages and rebuild its forts. So because of this, there is a very dangerous situation between the company and the Nawab. So the conflicts led to confrontations and finally culminated in the famous Battle of Plassey. See, Oliver the Khan, he was died in 1756. So after that, Sirajud-Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal. When Sirajud-Dawla, when he was became the Nawab of Bengal, so the company was worried about his power and keen on a puppet ruler who would willingly give trade concessions and other privileges. Puppet means actually the literally mean a toy that can move with the strings. But here the term is used to disprovingly to refer to a person who is controlled by someone else, who is controlling like a remote control. So for them used to call as a puppet. Okay, so here they were expected like that, but the East India Company, it was completely worried because they cannot control it. They cannot even the Sirajud-Dawla, he was not ready to become the puppet also because he was one of the powerful Nawab of the Bengal. So then afterwards what happened, the Sirajud-Dawla's was become the Nawab. So then afterwards, Sirajud-Dawla asked to company to stop meddling in the political affairs on his domain, stop fortification, and pay the revenues. So this is all the demands of Sirajud-Dawla. Understood now? So Sirajud-Dawla ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ? So ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ, he was one of the powerful. Then he was told to company very clearly that, so ನೀವು ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಸ್ತಕ್ಷೇಪ ಮಾಡುವುದನ್ನ you must be stopped. Whatever it may be, the political affairs in his dominion, I mean in my dominion, so you should not interfere in the political affairs, and also you must stop the fortifications. Whatever you are constructing now, so around your settlement, that should be stopped, and also you must pay the revenues. So these are all actually demanded and guided by the, it's not guide actually, it was a forced the East India Company to do or to follow all these things. Now, after negotiations failed, the Nawab marched. So, what happened? So, here, these negotiations completely failed. Then, afterwards, Sirajud-Dawla marched with 30,000 soldiers to the English factory at Qasim Bazar. ಸೊ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾತುಕತೆಗಳು ಒಪ್ಪಂದಗಳು ಸೊ ವಿಫಲ ಆಯಿತು, ಸೊ ಸಿರಾಜುದ್ದೌಲಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಸುಮಾರು 30,000 ಸೈನಿಕರ ಜೊತೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರಿ ಇದ್ದಂತ ಕಾಸಿಂ ಬಜಾರ್ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ಡ್ ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ಸ್, ಲಾಕ್ಡ್ ದ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸ್, disarmed all Englishmen and blockaded English ships. Then he marched to Calcutta to establish control over the company's fort there. ಕಾಸಿಂ ಬಜಾರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ. ಕಾಸಿಂ ಬಜಾರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಅವರು ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸೊ ಆ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಇದ್ದದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಿಶಸ್ತ್ರಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಇದ್ದಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅವರ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಹಡಗುಗಳನ್ನ ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಪ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕಾಸಿಂ ಬಜಾರ್, ದೆನ್ Sirajud-Dawla, he was marched to Calcutta to establish control over the company's fort there. So ಕಲ್ಕತ್ತಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಡಿತವನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಕಲ್ಕತ್ತಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾರೆ. See, On hearing the news of the fall of Calcutta, so company officials in Madras, so they were sent forces under the command of Robert Clive. I think you all have heard about this fellow, Robert Clive. Okay, so ಮದ್ರಾಸ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ತಲುಪುತ್ತೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳ. ಸೊ ಮದ್ರಾಸ್ ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಲೀಡರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಆಫ್ ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲೈವ್ ದೇ ವರ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಕೋಲ್ಕತ್ತಾ. Then reinforced by naval fleets, prolonged negotiations with the Nawab followed. But finally, what happened? So, in 1757, Robert Clive led the company's army against Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey. ಸೊ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮಾತುಕತೆಗಳು ವಿಫಲ ಆದ ನಂತರ 1757 ನಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲೈವ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರೆಂಚರ ಬೆಂಗಾಲ್ನ ಸಿರಾಜುದ್ದೌಲಾ ನಡುವೆ ಪ್ಲಾಸಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕದನ ಅಥವಾ ಹೋರಾಟನೆ ನಡೀತಿದೆ. See, one of the main reason for the defeat of the Nawab was that the force led by Mir Jafar. ಬಹುಶಃ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಮಕ್ಕಳ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಸಿ ಕದನದಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಹೋರಾಟದಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಸಿರಾಜುದ್ದೌಲನಿಗೆ ಸೋಲು ಉಂಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವನ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಕಮಾಂಡರ್ ಮೀರ್ ಜಾಫರ್ ಅನ್ನೋನನ್ನ ಸೊ ಇವರು ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲೈವ್ ಅಥವಾ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅವರು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ actually Mir Jafar he was never fought the battle in the warfare. So because of that reason, so Siraj-ud-Dawla he was defeated in the battle of Plassey, which was held in 1757. Then after that, actually why the Mir Jafar he was accepted and he was turned into the behalf of the company, because actually they were offered and they were promised to Mr. Mir Jafar, if Mir Jafar support the company, so the company is going to promote to make him as a Nawab of Bengal after crushing Siraj-ud-Dawla. So that's what ಅಧಿಕಾರದ ಆಸೆಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಮೀರ್ ಜಾಫರ್ ಸೊ ತಾನು ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಟ್ರೂಪ್ ಸಹ ಹೋರಾಟದಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್ ರೀಸನ್, ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಟಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾಸಿ, ಸೊ Siraj-ud-Dawla was defeated by Robert Clive. See, the Battle of Plassey became famous because it was the first major victory the company won in India. So that's what it was one of the turning point in our Indian history. Suppose if the East India Company or the Robert Clive, suppose if they defeated in this Plassey battle, so then we may expect the different result. But unfortunately, dear students, the Battle of Plassey, so it's became one of the most remarkable war in our Indian history, because here, so this is what the first major victory the company won in India. ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಯಗಳಿಸಿದಂತಹ ಮೊಟ್ಟ ಮೊದಲನೆಯ ಸೊ ಯುದ್ಧ ಪ್ಲಾಸಿ ಕದನ. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷರು ವಿಜಯವನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಜಯ ಏನಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಭಾರತದ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ದಿಕ್ಕನ್ನೇ ಬದಲಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹತ್ತರವಾದ ಪಾತ್ರವನ್ನು ವಹಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. So let us discuss interesting facts in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.